this is Jay with DirtChurch, Texas, and today I want to take a look at our budget shredder hardtail build that we called the Black Widow. About 6 months ago we were challenged to see how aggressive of a hardtail we could build using some less than top shelf brands maybe, and parts we had laying around the garage, and this thing came out great. Love riding this bike. We've put about 100 miles, maybe 150 on it so far. So let's check it out and see what we came up with. This build began when we selected the Brand X HT01 hardtail frame. We chose a size medium. I was really impressed when I got this frame. I picked it mainly because I liked the head angle of it. The geometry looked perfect for the type of riding I do. It had a tapered head tube, threaded bottom bracket. Had everything I looked for, and at $172.99, taxes, shipping, and everything, it was on sale from Chain Reaction Cycles. Delivered to the door, really can't beat it. While I was shopping at Chain Reaction, I also picked up the Brand X headset for the tapered head tube. Only $20.99. Once again, totally impressed with Brand X. The quality of this thing is as good as some FSA and even higher end brands that I've purchased. It's really solid. Sealed bearings went in great. For the drivetrain, we started out with the Shimano XT M800 bottom bracket. I think it was like $19 or $18.99 at Jensen USA. Then I chose the Raceface A-Effect crankset. This was a takeoff off a Transition Patrol that I have. Really great crankset. I happen to have it, so no cost to me. But I did some looking around, and you can pick this thing up for $110 used. If you really shop and want one with some nicks and dings and don't really care, probably even cheaper than that. I chose the Raceface 30-tooth narrow wide chainring. I found this thing at Worldwide Cyclery online sale for only $29.99. I'm probably going to change it to a 32 because I live here in Houston. Not a whole lot of huge climbs. I want a little more power. And I chose a set of Odyssey Tom Dugan signature pedals. Got these, they're brand new, they've never been ridden, but I got them from a guy here that bought them and then decided he wanted to go clipless. Picked them up for $20, but I think new online they're $30. For the rear half of the drivetrain, keeping it Shimano with the XT derailleur, bringing in the XT shifter. I chose a KMC X11SL chain, one of my favorite chains. I went with the Sunrace MX3 1142 cassette. I threw in a Halo skewer. All total $219.14. Did use a $20 Jensen coupon there, but a really solid setup for the rear. This is where I always try not to cut too much in a bike. Here, knowing what you're dealing with makes a difference. So the wheels of a bike can be a place that truly is one of the easiest areas to make a large difference in the capability and performance of the bike. However, there's a fine line between making an improvement and buying a set of wheels that's beyond your riding capability to where you're never going to see that return on investment. You can spend more on wheels than you can on a bike. One of the common misconceptions is that there's some magic or something difficult about building your own wheels. To learn about building your own wheels, check out sheldonbrown.com. The website will tell you everything you ever wanted to know about building custom mountain bike wheels. Then get an old set of wheels and just start trying. For this set, I had a set of rims sitting around. They were takeoffs from Transition Patrol again that I bought a few years ago. They were WTB STI-29 rims. They had the wrong hubs in them, so they weren't going to work for the build, so I tore them down. But the rims were brand new, had never been ridden on. So I took those, I ordered a set of what are now my favorite hubs. I have these on several bikes. They're the Bitex mountain bike hubs from bikehubstore.com. I got the front and rear set for $165.95. These hubs have 3 degrees of engagement. They're 6-pawl. They hold up great. They look great. I've never had a problem with them. The one thing I would advise is get the steel driver. You can also get anti-bite, which is lighter. If you're really worried about grams, I don't think this is the place to worry about them. But those are a alloy with steel strips. I've never torn one up, but I have seen them chewed up pretty good when you take the cassette off. In the future, I just always throw the steel driver on. It's much more robust, and I've never had an issue with it. So built up the set of wheels. I picked up DT Swiss Champion spokes and nipples. Personally, I usually use Supreme Race, but they're kind of expensive for what this build is. And the only difference is they're just extremely light and thinner, and DT Swiss will hold up great. The I-29s are a fairly wide profile rim, not the lightest rim, but not the heaviest either, and they're bulletproof. These things are freaking rocks, and very difficult to tear up. So all total for the wheel set, my cost as a bike nerd, I only had to buy the hub, so $165.95. My opinion, looking around online, you could get a comparable used wheel set for about $250 if you didn't have the parts and didn't want to build one yourself. When it comes to brakes, I'm one of the first people to admit I'm a huge Shimano fanboy. I love my Shimano brakes, but I wanted to try something different, and I chose to go with the Magura MT4 Storm brake package off of Jensen USA. Pretty affordable. I got the whole set for $69.99, front and rear brakes and rotors. At first, I was not happy. These are a composite brake, and they have a little composite bleeder screw on the lever, and when I went to take it off, the screw just broke right there. And luckily, Blue Line Bike Lab here in town had the screws, gave me a set for free because they're like $15 a piece normally. I was able to get that fixed. Took me quite a bit of work to bleed these brakes. Had to do it several times. I'd ride it, and they'd start to get softer. I'd bleed them again. They'd get softer. I had a little bit of trouble with them, but once I got them dialed in, got everything straight, they've grown on me. They're not as strong biting as my Shimano's, but they modulate amazingly well. And if you just change up your technique a little bit, they're a great brake. So I'm not going to say they're my favorite brake. I don't hate them either. It just depends on you and what you like. I like really aggressive brakes, but I ride kind of like a dump truck. So front and rear Magura MT4, $69.99 from Jensen. Seemed like a good deal, and they stopped the bike. For the front fork, I had a Recon Gold 120 millimeter fork. It was a takeoff off of a Giant Stance that I swapped out, put the Reba on at 130 just to change the geometry of that bike up a bit. So it was a new fork. I did throw a seal kit at it. I do that on brand new forks. I do it on forks every year. I have a background in hydraulics, so little OCD probably, but always throw a seal kit in a new fork. Took the decals off of this one, decided to black them out for the Black Widow bike, and threw them on. So this build was all about seeing how hard we could shred the budget for this bike. And we really went out on a limb here, and I wanted to try something. I had seen these stems made by a company called Wake. It's an Asian company. Really can't find any info on them. But I kept looking, if it's CNC machined alloy and the hardware's right, let's give it a shot. So we ordered this stem. I saw it. It fit perfect for what we were calling the Black Widow build. It had the spider graphic on it. And when I got this thing, I was amazed. This stem is about the same weight as some of my race face stems. It looks great. The hardware's great. It's rock solid. And it was $11. That's right, $11. Got it off Amazon. Took a while to get, so don't be in a hurry. I assume shipping from somewhere in Asia, and it took a couple weeks to get. But I did see some on there that had next day prime shipping. I looked and looked. I couldn't figure out exactly who the company is that makes them, but I did have someone tell me they make a lot of Truvative and other brands. I don't know, but the thing looks great, and it's held up so far. In every build, the little pieces seem to take quite a while. For this bike, it was no different. I had a ton of little pieces left just to finish this thing out. So I started digging through the parts bin at the shop, and this is what we came up with. I had a WTB Speed saddle with a takeoff, so zero cost. I chose to get an Origin 8 Spire seat post from Jensen USA for $29.99. I am a huge fan of ODI grips, and Ruffians are my favorite. Plus, they're really affordable. Brand new Jensen. Nice red ones to match the bike, $19.99. With this bike, there are some frame limitations. We'll look at that in a second for tire width, and I had those I-29 rims, so I chose to go 27.5 by 2.3, and I put an aggressor in the front and a high roller 2 in the rear. One of my favorite Maxxis combinations. I actually had both from some tire experimentation I had done on another bike, and when I sold that bike, I took the new tires off of it. I chose a box 1 seat clamp from Chain Reaction Cycles for $19.99. For handlebars, I really didn't have anything that seemed to fit the look of this bike or the feel I wanted. I ran across another rider that had a set of Truvative Descendant 780mm bars he wanted to get rid of. They're used. They got a few little scratches on. I got it for 25 bucks. With all this purchasing, I had another one of those little $30 Jensen USA coupons. So I stuck that in there. All total $64.97 my cost. You could buy some used tires and pick up an old saddle from somebody. So I'll give this a buy it all estimate of 110 bucks. So now that we've put over 100 miles on the bike, mostly on the jump lines and a couple of trails here in the Houston, Texas area, I love this thing. It rides great. It reminds me how much fun a hardtail can be to ride. I've been on a full suspension for quite a while. Everything's held up fine. I've had no issues. I did ride it a while with some race face Chester pedals, and I switched pedals, but no problems on the bike at all. Just, you know, the normal adjustments and getting things set, but the bike's done great. So let's take a look at the whole build again. All the items in a quick list and see what this thing cost us. That's always the scary part, isn't it? So like I said in the beginning, we built this bike as a project with parts that we had here in the shop. So we had the Brand X HT1 frame, the Brand X headset, we used Magura MT4 brakes with Storm rotors, went Shimano XT 1x11 with the XT MT800 setup, race face effect cranks, 30-tooth chainring, Shimano BB, Odyssey pedals, wake stem, WTB saddle, Origin 8 seat post, seat clamp from box 1, the Sun Race cassette, KMC chain as always, Halo rear skewer, our custom wheel set with Bitex hubs and Maxxis aggressor and high roller tires, RockShox Recon Gold fork, ODI grips, Truvative Descendant, 23.98 pounds, $574.88 cost to us. Figure right around $1,000 if you had to buy everything new, including the wheel set, and didn't build them yourself. So overall, not bad. I think that's a competitive price for a good, aggressive hardtail these days. I'd put this bike up against anything out there. A few downsides are that you need to be aware of if you want to build this frame. One, it's not a boost frame. Personally, I don't notice a lot of difference. They do ride different. I have a lot of boost bikes, but it's a standard frame. That actually saves you on the wheels and hubs. It's quick release in the rear. I've never had a problem with that. That's always been fine to me. I don't believe the whole stiffness hype, so it didn't bother me any. One thing to know is that it has ISCG mounting, and it also has the different mounting for the brake, so you're going to need to get an adapter for the rear brake mounting. Real easy to get. Chain Reaction Cycles carries them, and you can get that real easy. The one strange thing to note on this frame is that it has been designed for the open cable, which means you have housing and then open sections of cable and then housing. Those do actually shift better, can shift extremely smooth, but dirt and things become a problem. So I didn't want to go that route on a mountain bike, so what we actually did is we drilled them out and ran the cable all the way through, and it holds the cables really tight, and it is routed already for external dropper posts. So all total, great bike, enjoying riding it. You know, take a look around. You probably could have saved more than we did. Shop local, buy parts from other guys like me that are always tearing bikes apart and have tons of parts laying around. And most of all, get out and ride, shred life, enjoy the riding life, and be good to each other. Thanks.